Hello, everyone. We're going to give it a few minutes while everyone slowly joins us for our webinar today. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. We're excited to chat with you. We'll do some housekeeping items and then we'll get started in a few seconds. Would love to hear if you could put in the chat where you're coming from, tuning in from. Where in the world are you? Love to see that in the chat as we give it a few seconds. I'm here in cold but sunny Rhode Island. So not many people can say that from Rhode Island, I'll tell you that. Oh, goodness. But, oh, we got Atlanta, Orlando. You're in the warmer climate. I'm jealous, very jealous. Nice time of year. Happy Mardi Gras. Yes, that's right. Okay. I figure some people might join as I'm chatting, which is okay, but we'll get started. I just want to go over some housekeeping items before we kick things off. My name is Amy Keenan. I'm the host today from Insightful Accountant. Excited to bring you part 2 of our Future Forward virtual event. As you can see, we are talking today about Tech Spotlight for practices to increase profits, serving multi-entity clients at scale. This webinar is being recorded and we will be sending out the recording a few days after with all that information. So you can watch it again or share with your team if you have to jump off, whatever it may be. Just know that we will be sending out the recording to you. If you have any questions, feel free to put that in the Q&A section of the Zoom below, probably below in your toolbar. You'll see a nice Q&A section. You can certainly add your questions there and we can get to them at the end. And if you do require CPE credit, we will be launching a few poll questions throughout the webinar today. So make sure you participate in that. And then we will have a poll at the end asking you if you would like to get a CPE certificate. So make sure you say yes to that if you need one, so we can send it to you shortly after as well. With that, I'm going to hand the reins over to Brad to get things started.
Thank you very much, Amy. I really appreciate it.
Sure.
And as Amy said, today is really a continuation of the virtual conference that we did in December. It was all about practices to increase profits serving multi-entity clients at scale. Well, we talked about the why you do that in December, and today we're going to dive into the application with Qvinci's founder and really go over the tools for that. So welcome, as I said a minute ago, this is part of our virtual conference we had, and we're going to show you how to use tools and technologies and best practices to grow your practices by providing in-demand financial reporting and advanced business intelligence solutions to multi-entity clients like franchises and dioceses, or like industry clients like doctors, dentists, lawyers, veterinarians, whatever. Today, we are lucky to have two great panelists, Bill Murphy, Senior Contributing Tech Author at Insightful Accountant, and Charles Nagel, the Chief Innovation Officer at Qvinci Software. Murph is, as he said, mostly retired, but I'm not sure I believe him, but has a storied career over the last 30 years of consulting experience, and a 3-time consecutive winner of the Woodard's NAN Online MVP Awards, and has published more than 6,000 articles in numerous industry publications. He's also served as technical editor for the Business Analyst in QuickBooks by Wiley Publishing. Charles is responsible for the implementation of Qvinci's strategic tactical plans. He is the inventor of Qvinci. He is the one that came up with all these great tools for accountants to use to scale their practice. He is the I guess our innovation officer, and we rely on Charles to define these tools. So, Murph, please tell us a little bit about your background and how you worked with accountants in QuickBook prizes over the last 30 years.
Well, at one time I had about 700 QuickBooks clients spread all over the United States and other parts of the world. And we covered everything from retail businesses to construction businesses to manufacturing, wholesale distribution. We did a lot of work when companies started getting involved in e-commerce and getting their data into QuickBooks. And predominantly that's where I focused my technical practice that's made up much of the latter portion of my career till I started writing. And now I write about everything. And Qvinci was one of the very first products that I wrote about. So I'm happy to be here today.
Thanks, Murph. I appreciate that. Charles, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and how the Qvinci platform was founded to solve a unique problem in the accounting industry?
Sure. So I built and sold a number of businesses, got into turnaround consulting, mostly small, medium-sized businesses. Saw the same kind of things happening. And a lot of people running, for instance, QuickBooks, but they didn't have the business intelligence tools that the larger enterprises had available to them. So came on Monday, wrote some code, sure enough, could pull data out of QuickBooks, and decided to build a solution that would not only give business intelligence, but do the consolidation for multi-unit entities, which was a real pain in the neck, being able to consolidate. We have, Brad, we have what, 30,000 clients? Most of them franchisees or multi-unit type entities and accountants with a plurality. So being able to bring that stuff to bring the data together, make sense of it, and make it interpretive, so you have business intelligence that you can give to your client and or your endpoint. So it all got started out of actually going into businesses and seeing what they didn't have.
Beautiful. Thank you, Charles. I appreciate that. Just quickly, a couple of the accounting firms that we work with. And as I think I may have said earlier, but everybody will receive a copy of this deck. So you'll have all this information after the webinar. We'll make sure of that. The agenda today is very simple. I'm going to briefly go over the challenges and the best practices that we talked about in the last webinar, just to kind of briefly go over them. You'll get a copy of the deck so you can look at them in more depth, but I'm going to go over those. And then I'm going to turn this thing over to Charles and Murph. And they're going to go in-app to show you exactly how these things work and how they can benefit you. Then we'll have a recap, next steps, Q&A if we have time, and we'll go from there. All right, well, let's do polling question number 1. All right, would you like to represent more represent or service more multi-entity clients like franchise or dioceses, or like industry clients, doctors, lawyers, veterinarians, car washes, etc.?
We'll give that a few seconds and let people take time to do that. So remember to take these polls if you need CPE as well.
Thank
you. Okay, almost done. Looks like almost everybody's taken. Give it a couple more seconds. All right.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
That's great. 55% yes, and 45% maybe and like to learn more. So I think we have a good audience here for today. All right. Well, let's go to, first of all, we're going to talk about the 5 challenges. What are the challenges to represent like multi-entity clients? Well, the first one is the difficulty in assessing timely, reliable client data. Okay, required for effective advisory services, and we're going to show you how to do that. The second challenge is, what are the hurdles in establishing client-defined KPIs and business intelligence and benchmarking and ranking and cash flow and budgeting, things like that, and predictive analytics, okay? And because those are the kind of things you got to show those multi-entity clients and like industry clients. They want to see KPIs and benchmarking and ranking, and we're going to show you that. The third challenge is the challenge in providing profitable advisory services due to an over-reliance on manual processes, workflows, and spreadsheets. And we're going to show you how the patented Qvinci solution solves that. And remember, everybody's going to get a copy of the deck, so I'm not going to read directly from it. The fourth challenge is finding and deploying the right tools and technology for highly profitable advisory services to such multi-entity clients, okay? That's the important thing, because with the right tools, you can do this profitably. And with the right tools, you don't have to do it manually, and manually is never good. The fifth challenge that we talked about in December and going to show you about today is establishing and marketing your practice to multi-entity clients. We have a great tool in Qvinci. We call it the QTAP, the Turnkey Advisor Program. Shows you how to do everything, even has a marketing kit. All right, so we talked about the 5 challenges, all right? Now, let's do polling question number 2. What is the biggest obstacle preventing you from offering advisory type services to multi-entity or like industry clients? All right.
Give it a few more seconds to make sure everybody has time, because we want them to get their CPE.
Okay. Interesting answers. Thank you very much. Great answers. It seemed like a lot of people, want to learn more and want to learn how to do this, because it's an area where it's highly profitable area of your could be a highly profitable area of your practice. All right. Now we're going to go over the best practices, and I'm going over this kind of quick because it really is a recap of what we went over the last one, but you'll get a copy of the deck. So the first best practice that we recommend is to implement an automated client data collection, consolidation, and mapping system to have access to timely and reliable and relevant data mapped to a client-defined standard. Second best practice we're going to show you about in a minute is how to establish client-defined KPIs, business intelligence, benchmarking, ranking, cash flow, budgeting, and predictive analytics standards. How to do that for your customers and really be that trusted advisor they go to when they need this. 3, automate the manual management of client data processes, workflows, and spreadsheets by establishing best practices. Managing this in a spreadsheet is not going to work. It's going to you have to end all those manual processes, and we're going to show you how to do that. Best practice number 4, that's deploying the right technology and tools for the job. You have to effectively communicate and monitor client entities in a manner everyone can understand, everyone can make sense of, and everyone can take action on. And we're going to show you how to do that. Finally, best practice number 5, we are going to show you how to adopt a simple marketing tool that allows you to effectively communicate with staff, clients, and prospects. It's simple and easy and help you drive grow your practice. All right, polling question number 3. All right. Do you believe a multi-entity or like industry advisory practice would be more profitable if you deployed the tools and best practices discussed today? Right. Great answers. Great answers. Looks like most people said yes, and the ones that said didn't say yes said maybe need to know more. So great answers. Thank you very much. Now we are going to go to the meat of this presentation, which is Charles is going to go and Murph are going to go in app and show you these tools that will help your practice. And so with that, I'm going to stop sharing. And Charles, if you'll grab the screen.
You seeing my mouse moving?
Yes, we do.
Okay, good. All right, so we're going to go through a handful of things inside the application today. That starts with the point of entry for accountants, anyone in Qvinci, is what we call the advisory portal. The advisory portal gives you a landscape view of all your clients types, for instance, restaurants and the entities, Austin Brew, Bristol Beer Garden. These are QuickBooks files, if you will, online, desktop, Xero, Excel, whatever. These are actual accounting files over here. And you can group your clients. You can see I've got a company up here, and I call it, I've got my dental group. We actually have accountants that use Qvinci, and they've grown, I believe, almost 500% in several years. And they put their like kind, we call them like kinds, put all your dental clients in a group, put all your restaurants in a group. And the reason you do that is so that you can anonymously benchmark them against each other and give them that benchmark data. No one can see, you can't see each other's data, but you can benchmark them against each other. And Qvinci has reports that will automatically, as we say, hydrate and allow you to give the comparative benchmarks to your clients. Well, it all starts here. I've got them grouped by clients, and I've got a reporting entity, and all these cells are hot. You can drill down to the GL. You don't even have to open up QuickBooks to look at the general ledger inside a plurality of QuickBooks files. You could even push journal entries back into the remote QuickBooks files without ever opening QuickBooks. So we tell you what kind of file type it is. We tell you the last data syncs. Qvinci automatically syncs the data. Part of the thing that Brad was talking about earlier is being able to collect that data automatically and get it in. We automatically sync that out of QuickBooks Online, out of Xero, out of desktop. And it automatically comes into our reporting portal where you look at a landscape view of those entities. We tell you the last day it's synced. And all these cells are hot. So here's how you use the portal across a plurality of entities in Qvinci. Red's bad, green's good. So you as the advisor, you may just want to interrogate the health and wellness of your clients across hundreds and thousands. We have clients that have thousands of QuickBooks files in here, and they use this as an overarching way to interrogate. Now, all the data on here can be sliced and diced by several periods. Reporting month versus the prior month, same period last year, 3 months prior to same period last year, and fiscal year, same period prior year. If I change these metrics, all the data on the screen is going to change. You can see all these numbers all changed here. Wait a minute, Valid Dental is 37% in the ditch on total income. What's happening there? I click that cell and I begin to drill down to underlying data. Well, here's what it is. In 21, they did that, and 22, they did this. I've got my date set back a year. And if I want to know more, I can then click this button and it'll take me down and it'll give me the P&L as an example. I'm going to drill from the top level numbers down into the P&L. It shows me the year over year over year. P&L for Valid Dental year over year over year. Okay? So all of the cells in the portal will do that for you. Net income, cash, months of cash. There's drill down AR, AP. All these things are drillable because you're trying to find out and just get a sense of where they stand and what I'm seeing that might be off a little bit without having to go into QuickBooks. Imagine you have 200 locations, 200 clients. You really want to open 200 QuickBooks files and dig through all the reports? No, not really. I just want to get a landscape view here, see what I need to pay attention to. The AR 76%, 37% off here. I just kind of page through my client list, All the cells are hot, by the way. You can sort these in ascending and descending order. You click that, and now all the clients are sorted worst to best. Might want to pay attention to St. Mary's, you know? So this is how the portal works, and it gives you a landscape view of interrogating these guys at a very, very top level. Bill, you have any thoughts on the portal at this point?
Charles, this is one of the things that makes Qvinci perfect for people who have multiple clients. And you tend to always use these big numbers, kind of like me mentioning 700 clients and you're mentioning 200 clients. But I don't care if you even just got like maybe 25 or 30 clients. Looking at all their data over any given period of time is extremely difficult unless you have a tool like this that will visually display the key factors. And so, you know, this dashboard assembles all the data so that an advisor can quickly see how all of their clients are doing and then make decisions on the ones that need attention the most.
Yeah, and look, it's really simple. I mean, I used to be a consultant, right? Again, if it's green, it's fine, leave it alone, right? What you really care about is the big levers, the ones that have the big issues. That's what you're trying to interrogate, right? When you're doing advisory services. Let's go to the next thing. We're going to talk.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
It's like having a crystal ball and suddenly the cloudy center clears up and says, oh, client ABC has a cash flow problem or an income problem, and you need to then go out and deal with them. And that's what makes this tool so easy to use.
Sure. And I'm actually going to tell you guys, when we get into some of these other reports here, I'm going to show you some things. I am advising a franchise right now that has franchisees. So kind of like being an accountant with a plurality of customers, right? And I use this tool to interrogate and find out the OMG moments at any one of a number of locations, right? So the next thing we do is we put up, let me see if I can go to this. So this is called, we have a variety of what we call scorecards. And this is where you begin. Look, let me say something, guys. You can have all the pretty reports you want with the slick little graphics and the little lines running all over the place, but what do you do with it, right? What businesses need and what accountants need to provide their clients are things that tell them where to focus their attention, what they're to pay attention to. And it starts with things like the scorecard here. Imagine with me, this is going to be hard to wrap your head around. Imagine with me that Qvinci has a thing called templates. This is a template. And I can select an entity and run this in template, and Qvinci will automatically put the top 5 income, top 5 COGS, top 5 expenses for that client that I chose and put all the numbers here. Same template, but it populates with the data for the client. And here's where it gets really cool. This report you're looking at here, consolidation of 3 entities. I got a client who has 3 locations, and he'd like to know how his ecosystem is doing. He's got 3 restaurants. This is a consolidated. If I select 3 entities, I get consolidated data, customized for the clients I selected. This is the top 5 income accounts. This is how this particular report works. Show me the last 12 months as an average across these 3 entities. Then establish a low and a high, wrap it around low and a high. Take 2% off and 2% high. You know, if I stay within the average of what I did last 12 months, this is my range. If it's black, I'm in range. If it's green, I did better than the range. If it's red, oh my God, I'm outside of the range. And here's what we see for these 3 entities, across all 3 entities. They should have done 43.3 to 45.5. They did 39, going the wrong direction. You know, the rest of these are okay. Leave them alone. What happened with food sales? We take a little bit further. This one's on this reporting year. You can do month, year, quarter. This X means that last year we did 46.7. We did 39 here. We put a red X. In other words, we're trending the wrong direction, left to right. Reporting period to prior versus the prior year, we're trending the wrong direction. So everything else looks pretty good. Where do you think we should focus? This is I'm talking about all the pretty little charts and graphs. They don't tell me what I need to be focused on. I'm doing okay everywhere else. I need to work on what's wrong with food sales. And we use it in the franchise space. Same thing with expenses, got a reverse polarity. Same kind of thing, $27,000, you got a range here. Hey, listen, this is higher than we're spending more on our cost for wine has gone up. Well, maybe I'm okay with that. Our sales for wine went up as well by about the same amount. So I feel pretty good about that. I'm not having too much problem with that. Much higher than last year. Food cost is under control. That's good. Food sales are down, so thank God food costs are under control. But dairy costs, we didn't have a dairy sales is not a number of our top 5, but it's one of our top 5 COGS. So now I know what I need to pay attention to. And I just go down this list and paying attention to these kind of things. Look for green, look for red. If it's red, it's bad. Pay attention to it. And so, Bill, before I ask your opinion, I'm going to show the next. So the next thing we would do, if we had a plurality of dental clients, let's say that you're an accountant, you don't have any franchises, but you have 15 dental clients or 15 restaurants or 27, HVACs. This is how some of our clients have grown by providing this data to them. They would then go and do the, oh, I'm sorry. Let me bring that up over here in Excel because it's a little bit bigger and it's easier to read in Excel on the screen here. Here we go. So this scorecard is a benchmark scorecard. And this is where I compare a unit to all the other like kinds that I have as a client. In this case, I got a restaurant. And you can see I got the ecosystem over here. This is the average of all of my restaurants, the top 20% of all of my restaurants. And I'm providing this to, a home brew, Austin Brew House. So this is these are Austin Brew House's numbers, okay, as a ratio compared to all the other restaurants that I've got. And it's the same kind of concept. The average for everybody is 12.4 to 14%. So 12.4 is an average, 14% as a percent of total income for top 20. Here's our range. And catering for me is 9.7. It's red. Compared to everybody else, this is not as big a percent of my total income as an example. And my meals are, while I'm in range here, I'm off period over period again, going the wrong direction. Same thing with COGS. How do my COGS compare to everybody else? Look, I'm at 8.5% for coffee beans. And everybody else is 6.4 to 6.3 to 6.4. Best case. Opportunity for improvement. And just go down the list. It automatically will populate this for you. You don't have to do anything other than select the entity and click download or preview. And it comes up on the screen in Qvinci just like this, and it delivers the business intelligence that you can then give to your client. And your client can go look at these things and see where they need to focus their attention. Everything's not bad, just some things are bad. And then we're going to go through a couple other things. So, Bill, what do you think about this little scorecard as it might be used in for an account that has a plurality of like kinds?
Well, Charles, you all are famous for what I always tried to do, and that is use the KISS principle. Keep it simple. And, you could hand out somebody 26 pages of financial statements and footnotes and this, that, or the other, and it's going to sit on their desk for probably 4 weeks and be totally out of date. You can hand the client this KPI scorecard and quickly go through the problem areas and then start addressing how do we deal with those. And you gave examples of income being down, expenses being up. Well, how do we deal with that? And so, really, this is a great tool to provide quick and easy information that the customer is going to understand, that your client is going to understand. They could care less really what their balance sheet says as long as everything is working. And when it's not, they want you to tell them what's not working.
Yeah. So I use this tool inside that food and beverage company. And we had exactly this. This is not their numbers, but it's like this. Their expense for staff at one location was significantly higher than the average of the other food and beverage locations, significantly. And so you want to recommend, you want to say, listen, are you hiring well? Are you overstaffing? And the question that an accountant might say is, are you overstaffing for the traffic coming through your store? Because this is what's happening everywhere else. I'm just saying, right? You don't have to solve the problem. You just have to advise of the problem. See, you're not a consultant, you're an advisor. You don't have to fix it, just point it out to them, right? So the next thing we have on our list that we're going to go over here is we're going to take a look at something called alerts. It's a pretty cool little tool, very easy to use. It's under Tools, My Alerts in Qvinci. And what you can do then is you can set up alerts to be sent to your client or to you. And so I'm going to select, this is a client. I've got Apple Family Dental. I would like Qvinci to notify me of activity. So, you know, I really care about, I want a weekly alert for payroll expenses. This is a chart of accounts out of Family Dental. If I change to another location, different chart of accounts. Okay. So I'm setting up an alert for Apple Family Dental. Payroll expenses, you know, I want a weekly alert. I'd like it to be this month to date, and it's an expense. Okay. So I'm going to set a threshold. And the threshold is, you know, listen, I've looked at these guys' P&Ls for the last 4 months by month. I know that their payroll is $35,000. So I'm going to set this up and click Save. And I'm going to come down here to fee-for-service income. And I've taken a look at product sales. And I want to get a weekly alert on product sales. And I'm going to do month to date. And it's a target. I really, you know, I want to make sure that that they're getting alerted. I'm getting alerted that when they hit that target, okay, and the product sales is $23,400. Save. I just go back through and I just cherry pick out of the chart of accounts what I want, P&L balance sheet. So what Qvinci does is this. When payroll expenses cross $35,000, you're going to get an email alert. It looks like a little mini spreadsheet. And if also product sales has hit $23,400 as a target, they'll be combined in a single. You only get one alert. And it'll contain all the alerts that have met either thresholds or the targets. Well, I can tell you, I got a franchise out there that they use this thing and they get it weekly across all locations because they want to know where everybody is. Okay. And so this is a way of having a fast, how do I know what to monitor? Come in here and set up some targets and thresholds, put them in here for the client, and just look for the email. Qvinci's going to send it to you. You do the accounting, put the data in the system. When that gets that, and when those targets and threshold gets hit, you're going to get an email. If none of these get hit, you don't get any emails. You only get an email when targets get hit and they are combined. So, you know, Bill, this was pretty obvious. I won't ask you to to spend too much time on this. Who doesn't want to know early when, you know, if I were to set a threshold, if let's say that their payroll was $35,000, you know, I can set a threshold there of $15,000. And I better not get an alert.
You know, Charles,
in a week.
Your clients are going to be surprised if you have this email come to you rather than your client, and then you call them up and say, "Hey, did you know that your payroll cost has just gone over the average?" They're going to be so impressed that you're right on top of their financial situation.
Oh yeah, and I'll tell you why. We've got a lot of accountants as clients, and what you do is you have this sent to you, and then you forward it to the client. Hey, did you know this? And you send it to them. And why? Because you are delivering the value to the client. If it comes from you, they perceive you are increasing your value to them. So you always want to have it sent to you and then forward it on to the client. It's, you know, extremely powerful, easy to use. It's a no-brainer. Set it and forget it, that kind of thing. So we're done with that. We're going to go over now. One of the next things that's really powerful is cash flow forecasting. And cash flow forecasting can take a million permutations, right? We have this thing called the What If Forecasting Optimizer. It's a template in Qvinci. You select an entity, Austin Brew. You click Preview. It makes this for you using their chart of accounts. It's the What If tool. I invented this right when COVID hit. We had thousands of people attend the webinar for this. We've had clients use this thing. One of them was a chiropractor, and she called and talked to me, and she said, "You saved my business. I had no idea where I needed to focus my attention." And how this works is this: it pulls the P&L out and allows you to choose. Do I want to use a single range or seasonal range of periods? And then I put in my first what if month. In this case, I have typed in January. I can put in February 2024 is my first what if month, and everything changes. February is my first projected month. I'm going to go back to January 2024, okay? Now, my reference month, where do I want to start? At an average, I take a look at my revenue stream. I take a look at what he's done. So I chose December 2023 as my reference month, and it puts the data here. This is the P&L for December 2023 for Austin Brew. Okay. And then it builds a forward-looking forecast. If you keep, by default, if you keep doing what you've been doing, the green bars are your actuals, your bank account balance, your checking account balance, okay? If you keep doing what you've been doing, this is what your checking account balance ought to look like. Now, I'll tell you what happens, and these are snapshot data points up here. We won't spend a lot of time on snapshot. It just tells you, hey, last month was this, and your what if month is supposed to be that, right? But what will happen is when you run this thing, if you choose periods back a little further, a lot of times you'll see this bank account balance is, they're eating into their bank account balance, okay? They're not necessarily profitable, or they're using money, so it's going down. And so they're not replicating, the bank account balance is trending this way, and their what if they just did what they did in December, a lot of times it may go down, but a lot of times like this case, it goes up. So what's going wrong here? Well, what happens is we have an actual versus what if scenario down here. And what happens is you come down and start finding that I budgeted this, but I got that. And what you can do is you can come in here and change the percentage in the what if column. Okay, I'm not going to hold the line on what January would be based on December. I'm going to control these costs. I'm going to take, for instance, and let me blow this up. It's probably hard to read. I'm going to take the consulting thing and I'm going to dial it to 0. 0. And it says, okay, your actual forecast is now 0 and the chart goes up. Drives it to the bottom line. And you come in here and you just start cherry picking. You see, I've done this with the zeros with consulting. I'm going to control these costs. I'm going to come down through here and I'm at contract labor. Average $2,007, actually spent $4,015 that month. So you know what, going forward, I'm not going to do any contract labor, or I'm going to do 50%. And it takes the labor down to that, and it folds all that into what's happening. See, these charts are changing here. What happens is you put these what if things in there. You and the client work on this. I'm in Excel, by the way. You run it in Qvinci, dump it to Excel, and everything works. All the formulas work, everything works, and you can play what if in Excel, so can your client. You send this off to the client. They have all the data here, the P&L. They got their rolling cash balance forecast down in here. They can put one-offs down in here, you know, PPP loans, that kind of thing. Money in, money out, all kinds of things. Shows up owner's salary. We did $8,000 in December, but he spent $16,000 in January. I don't know, what should we do about that? You see, I dialed it down 75%. Going to take a 25% haircut because we're not making money, for God's sake. So you can come in here and adjust this plan, change in the what if things, and here's your runway. An actual versus what if. And you know what? We're a little far apart here so far. Now we're in February still. It's not done. Sales aren't done yet. We've done 85,537. Every time I run this preview in Qvinci, it gives me a new number versus 129. We're spending a little more time on this tool because it's a more complex tool, but it's a more valuable tool. Once you go through this and you set the goals, the what if goals, every time you run it, you get the actual and how you're doing against what if, and the bars give you the sticky little cute color-coded things that say I'm on plan or I'm not on plan. And again, red, the client knows what they need to monitor. You said you weren't going to spend $4,909, so don't spend the money. And you see where you're controlling your cost, where you're not controlling your cost. Bill, any opinions on this one?
Well, this is the perfect tool for analyzing, advising, and projecting cash flow scenarios. And as you know, cash flow is one of the major reasons why small businesses, especially those starting out, end up closing their doors. They just don't manage their cash because they aren't managing their income and expense appropriately. And this is the tool that lets them determine what they can do to make adjustments to stay in business.
Yeah, I used to tell my clients when I'd go in there, you can't fix what you can't see. You know, pretty straightforward, right? So kind of along this line, you know, we have budgets. We got, I don't know how many budgeting tools in Qvinci, a truckload of them. The cool thing about Qvinci is you can build your own reports. You can use our existing templates like this one as an example, or you can have us modify one for you, because Qvinci's authoring tools is basically Excel. All the power of Excel in an online solution, collecting automatically data from multiple locations, and it will consolidate for you. So as an example, we have a budgeting versus actual report. Here's the budget. Here's the actual. Here's the budget. Here's how much is remaining. Here's how much has been used. I mean, and it'll read with QuickBooks budgets out of QuickBooks, or you can upload your budget from Excel into Qvinci. It'll run exactly the same way. And here's what's really cool. You have a client that has 4 locations, and you got budgets for them and actions for them. Select all 4 locations, run this template, consolidated budget versus actual. How long does it take to do a budget versus actual consolidation? So let me show you a few examples of the tool. Again, everything can be dumped to Excel. And when you dump it to Excel, all the formulas travel. Here's one. This is a template, and it's the budget replacement. As you move through the year, it replaces the budget with the actual. Now, on the right-hand side here, here's your total. Here's where you are so far. Here's the original budget you had when these were all in here, $18,000. And you're $2,102 to the good. Beer sales are up. Fantastic. Not so much here, right? Having some problems here. Red's bad. Expenses are up. You've already busted this one, basically. So, you know, having the ability to run a plurality of budget types, right? We got another one. This one has, see if I can get this one on the screen. Budget remaining. Here's the budget. Here's the actual. Here's the budget did. Budget remaining. Budget used. We saw that one. How about future budget? We have the ability to another template. I'm just we'll let Excel load this thing up. Future budget. 2023 actuals, 2023 budget, the diff between the two, 2024 budget, diff between the two, and the 2025 budget. How does it compare? Since it's in Excel, you can see all the formulas are hot here, right? All the formulas are here and hot. You can customize if you want to. What's really cool? Need to come in here and highlight something for the client. Highlight the lines. Qvinci's pulled the numbers together for you. Do that. Put a comment out here. Without doing all the lifting of gathering the data and putting it all together, it'll consolidate again, by the way. You can have it, mark it up, put the note in there, send it to them. You've delivered the value without doing all the heavy lifting, because this report takes about 5 seconds to run. So we have a plethora of budgeting tools that are just, I can't imagine we don't have a budgeting template that you wouldn't find useful in our gallery, as an example. So I have to come over to the libraries and reports. I'm going to show you a couple of things that we've got here. And then I think we have one more. We have a ranking report, which is our new report. It's really powerful. This is an example of all the tools that we have ready for you to use. There's 20 on each one. There's 143 predefined P&L, balance sheet, KPI, scorecards, budgets, expense analysis, everything under the sun that you can imagine that already exists. You simply select the entity you want. I want Apple Family Dental and or Ballad and or Bristol Dentistry, right? Preview the report. Report's on the screen. Dump it to Excel, mark it up, send it out in a discussion. That's simple. I'm going to show you one of the last the type of reports that we have here that's really powerful. This is used in production by clients right now, and it is used to make business decisions. So in this case, we have 30 entities, 30 QuickBooks files. I call them entity 1 through, and it pulls all the data off the 30 entities, and it creates a ranking report. Now you can select the period you want, the reporting month, reporting 3 months, or reporting year. Right now we're looking at yearly data. And all these columns can be sorted. If I wanted to see my entities in descending order in income, do largest to smallest, there it is. Entity number 5, best performer from an income perspective. And I don't know what's going on down here, but this ain't so good, right? So total revenue for everybody, $1.83 million. And here's the ranking. You know, if I want to see these in worst order, I can do it smallest to largest. sorting this column, and it did 1 to 10, largest to smallest. What's the worst rank? My 31st one. We got a negative $131. COGS, rank, and that sort of thing. How do I use this? How did we use it? As an example, very simply, if you're a restaurant and you have COGS, sort it in smallest to largest. My best performer is, and they don't have any COGS, so my best, let's take a look at, let's do largest to smallest actually. So you can see that these are fictitious QuickBooks files. These are kind of a mess here. Entity 16 is a real QuickBooks file. 56.6% of their total income is COGS, 48%. My best performers are down here around 30%. What are these guys doing that these guys are not doing? So you begin to see these, when you have real world data, again, these are fictitious files with fictitious numbers. When you have real world data, you begin to be able to compare anonymously these entities to each other. And you can run this on behalf of your ecosystem and then send them the data, send them their data and how they compare to their peers. You're not going to send them everybody's revenue numbers, but you're going to send them their percentages. Gross margin, total expense, and it's customizable. We can come in here and put custom accounts in here. Everything is ranked in order across like kinds. That's what you want to do. Put your doctors together, rank them, come up with these numbers, and then you have something to advise on, right? Whether it's COGS or expense or net income or custom accounts over here. If you had doctors or dentists, you'd probably have orthosurgeries, other consumables, those kinds of things. It can be customized for the client type that you have. If you have a franchise, it makes infinite sense. If you have a diocese, anything multi, you got a client with 17 locations or 4 locations, 6 locations. This gives a landscape view of where those locations compare to each other. And this has been used, especially in this area in the restaurant space, to tighten up what they were doing was they were buying too much data and had a lot of spoilage. That's what was happening, truthfully. They were throwing a lot of stuff away and they didn't know it. They thought that was normal. That's not normal. You don't throw that much away if you order correctly. That's what they did. Bill, I'd like your opinion on this particular tool. I'm not sure this isn't the first time you've seen it, actually.
Well, I certainly haven't seen it to the extent you just demonstrated it, Charles. And to me, it looks like absolutely the kind of data and data presentation that somebody with multiple entities, like as you said, restaurant franchises, or I'm sitting here thinking about a funeral home client I've got that has multiple funeral homes. They could look at expenses in this way. But, you know, I want to also talk about budget just a minute, because I always thought budgets were like maps. And unless you set where you're going, you don't have any idea how close you are or how far away you are from being there. And the problem is that QuickBooks has, damn poor budgeting tools. You can't even in QuickBooks Online budget for your capital expense as part of a balance sheet budget. And I think maybe they just added that to QBO Advanced. But, you know, there's no way to actually budget across multiple entities and then compare those budget figures for all your entities to the actual. So you've got to have a tool like Qvinci in their advanced budgeting applications and templates in order to really know where you're going in your multi-entity business.
Oh yeah, and like I said, we have so many budgeting tools. We have it. We call it BVA. We have a BVA by entity. Select 5 entities and do the BVA, and I'll put them all in columns next to each other and compare them to each other. How'd they do? So you're right. I mean, the pulling together of data, even just on one source, is a pain in the neck to get business intelligence out. There's lots of data, but you got to get into decision-making tools. And so there will be something that you like or want. And again, like I said, if someone had, and we do this all the time, we'll build reports for you that you need.
And that's another important aspect, is that you all can connect and pull data from all these different versions of QuickBooks directly. There's no downloading a file and this, that, or the other, and then having to upload it. Y'all can just pull it directly, whether it's a desktop file or an online file.
Well, not only that, and this happens with this company I was telling you about, some of their files are desktop, some are QuickBooks Online. Qvinci doesn't care. It'll do those consolidations, rolls them side by side, whether they're zero Excel, QuickBooks Desktop, QuickBooks Online, doesn't matter to us. We'll bring it all in and normalize it for you. The last thing we need to go over here is what we call the Qvinci Turnkey Advisor Program, something we developed several years ago. And let me zoom this up so it's a little easier to read. It's a multi-step program. I'm just going to introduce you to the idea. It makes infinite sense. We've done the lifting for you. Step one is review the metrics. So you're going to look at when you act as an advisor, you look at the advisory portal like I showed you in the very beginning and find the outliers, the ones that really need your help. You generate the reports. So you use our scorecards and our financial reports. So the kinds of things I've shown you. Select the entity, find the reports that you want, combine them up, download, get them ready to deliver to the client, right? And then spread the word. Now, this is where we've done some lifting for you, and that's it's our marketing kit. And in our marketing kit, we have created three templates for you, three email templates for you, introducing this concept of business intelligence to your clients, and one for prospects and one for staff. When you want to introduce what Qvinci can do for us as an in an advisory capacity to existing staff. We've written the emails. We've attached sample scorecards like you saw and sample financials like you've seen with an explanation text in there. And we give it to you in an Outlook email template ready to use. And so when we set up an account for you for the QTAP program, we will put the most common, most valuable reports. We will pin it. We call it pinning it. We will put it into your account. It looks like this. When you log into you'll log in and you'll click the reports and libraries page. And what will happen is in your pin tab, these are all the reports and the scorecards, all the things that we talked about, we put them in here and you're ready to run day one. The Turnkey Advisor Program overview with hot links to everything about the QTAP program, the marketing kit, the advisory portal, basic user, how to do. And then here are the packages with the QTAP reports ready to go. All you have to do is, I want to test drive this with Apple Family Dental. I'll come in here, I'll select Apple Family Dental. I will change the date to be, the date that I want, and I'm going to run that on February 2024, apply the changes, and I click preview, and I've got it. A multi-page report with the scorecard, everything you just saw in it, ready to go. We set this up for you. So you're ready to use out of the chute. Step 4 is where we show you how to, so you're sending data into the field, you're providing the step 3, the very first advisory services. We'll then train you on the what if forecasting tool, and then we'll show you how to run these benchmarking tools against your vertical markets that you've got across all your doctors. And I will tell you, I'm going to leave you with this. I'm going to turn it back over to Brad. We have an accounting firm that started with about 187. I landed them 187 dental clients. They only do dental clients. And using the packages in the advisory program, and I built their packages for them, they have grown to 1,000 dentists, 1,000. And they run this process every month. Review the metrics, generate the reports, download it, send it to the client. That's what they do. Brad, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you very much, Charles. Yes. Okay. Question. Share this.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Charles and Murph. We certainly appreciate it. And we just have a few things left to do here. Let me get down to the, why don't we go ahead and throw up polling question number 4. What technologies or tools discussed today do you believe would increase or enhance your multi-entity or like industry client base? Great answers. All right, thank you. Thank you for that, those answers there. Very interesting. Lot of dashboards and KPI scorecards. Sorry about that. My hands. Okay, well, listen, we're slowly approaching the end of our session, and I just wanted to talk to you about next steps. And you can schedule, everyone's going to get a copy of this deck. You can schedule a private demonstration. It'll open up an Acuity calendar, pick a time, and someone will be there to give you a more in-depth demonstration based upon your needs. You can attend one of our live product-focused webinars that we have every week. They're on our website. There's a link there. Or if you want to really jump in the deep end, you can schedule a free trial. And anybody who signs up for a free trial in the next 30 days will receive a special pricing package, which includes $5 per LinkedIn Sync business entity for the first 2 months. That's an 80% discount. Just tell them Murph, Brad, and Charles sent you, and we'll get you up and running in no time. So one of the other things too, I think it bears mentioning is, every tool that you saw Charles go over and Murph talk about, these are all customizable at will. That's the difference between Qvinci and most other tools. Most other tools, you get what you get. At Qvinci, I mean, if you can envision it in Excel, we could likely build it for you. We have 143 reports in our gallery, and everyone can use them, but some clients like to customize them. Like the client Charles mentioned, the dental client, he customizes a lot of stuff himself. If you're good in Excel, you can do it yourself, or we'll do it for you. So got a few minutes here, and we've got a few questions we'll try to get to. Probably.
Brad,
Go ahead.
Brad, let me interject something here. I want to mention that I think last fall, a study of 21,000 chief financial officers across small to medium businesses, 65% of them said, we need more financial information than we're getting. And folks, what that tells me is the time is ripe for you to build a niche practice that is based around reporting, analytics, and advisory. And you'll be unique to be able to provide the kind of information that you've seen here today. And then you can expand into all those multi-entity businesses that need your help as well. This is just the perfect tool and the perfect toolkit in the way of this QTAP program to be able to start a niche practice that focuses on providing the kind of information that financial officers are looking for.
Well, thank you, Murph. And, we only have a little bit of time left, so I think I'm going to turn it over to Amy to conclude. And we have a lot of questions and come up. And please reach out to Qvinci. We stand ready to take your call and answer all your questions. Amy, go ahead and take it from here.
Well, yes, thank you so much. That was a great presentation. I certainly learned a lot. If you do need your CPE, please make sure you take this poll, and we will get those out to you probably early to mid next week. So stay tuned for that in your inbox. If there are any questions right now, put them in the Q&A. I know there were some in there. It looks like, Brad, you got to most of them. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So if there are any new questions, you can add them in there now. We can answer them for you.
Yeah, I was answering them as Charles was talking. I was answering some of the questions, but there's still a number we won't have time to get to. But our people are ready. Schedule a short call or a demo and answer any questions you might have.
Yes. So again, we'll send out the recording. We'll send out the slides, and you'll have all the information. Wendy says, I don't think you answered my question. Hold on, let's go find hers. For the KPIs, can you use the system of all clients and not just your own clients in a category such as restaurants in this example?
I answered it there, Wendy. I said, yes, as long as those clients are connected to Qvinci.
All right. Wendy, does that help? Are you good? All right, awesome. Okay, well, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Again, we'll get the recording and slides and everything out to you in the next few days. So have a great rest of your day.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Yeah.